This is Dateline News and Conversation. I'm going to share some news with those of you in the United States and other parts of the Western world, news that you're probably not getting and probably not aware of. We're going to talk with my friend Jan Carnogursky, who is a lawyer, and he is the former Prime Minister of Slovakia. We're going to talk about Robert Fico, the Prime Minister of Slovakia, upon whom there was an assassination attempt this past week. And we'll also talk about the politics in Slovakia and also Hungary and Serbia. All of these countries are resisting more aid and weapons to Ukraine. Jan, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much. Hello to everybody.
So, Jan, I want to right off ask you, who is Robert Fico? Tell me about his background. You know him personally. A little bit about his background, his politics. So help me understand better who he is.
Okay, I will try. Robert Fico was into the end of communist regime in Czechoslovakia. He was a member of Communist Party and still belongs to, say, post-communist or socialist camp in political landscape in Slovakia. After Velvet Revolution, he established later, first started in post-communist party, a little bit renamed Communist Party of Slovakia, but later he established his own party, Smer, direction, Socialist Democratic Party. And he has presented himself as very gifted politician in Slovakia. First, he started in this post-communist party. Then, as I have told, established his own party, and won elections, and established government of Slovakia in something after 2000. Later, because his politics was very independent toward the West, he was not against European Union, but he did not wish to to take all the directions of Brussels, of European Union, and then in the year 2018 was made a Velvet Revolution, so-called Velvet Revolution, but very, very sophisticated Velvet Revolution, because a journalist and his fiancée were killed in the year 2018, and despite the fact that the then government of Robert Fico had nothing to do with killing of this journalist, but he was accused that yes, it is his government has created conditions that the murder was able to happen, and his government collapsed. Then, in other former socialist countries, or even in Slovakia, practically nobody, no politicians would had been able to re-establish his political base, his political party, but Robert Fico did it, and then in the year, yes, in last year he won against elections, and yes, created the government. I know Robert Fico personally because from the parliament of Slovakia, because we were in different political camps, so to say. He was in socialist, I was in conservative Christian. But of course we were not enemies, and even one time we were in supporting the government of Slovakia, our parties, and so the events went on, and so in last year he again won the elections and created the government. Now the attempt of assassination in this last week has been happened on him. The attempt of assassination made, I would say, politically madman Juraj Cintula. He is in a rather small Slovakian city. The Slovak government made there an extraordinary session. Slovak government, especially the governments of Fico, do sometimes such sessions for propaganda reasons mainly. But when he left the building where the session took place, men came to him and shot him 5 times. 5 times. From the pistol of 9, the 9 millimeters. It's rather strong ammunition, but and practically probably was Robert Fico should have been killed, but he was not killed because the man who made the assassination was even he's described as a writer, but I didn't know his name as writer, even from nothing. I didn't know his name, and he didn't shot Robert Fico into lungs and heart. He didn't kill Robert Fico. And it is very important because if Robert Fico had been killed, then the government of Fico would collapse out for constitutional reasons, and the president of Slovakia Mrs. Zuzana Čaputová, is now a liberal progressivist person, completely from oppositional camp to camp of Robert Fico. So he had been able to appoint a new government at least for 1 month, and this new government had not to ask for the parliament to be approved. And in this month, 1 month, could happen many things. but Fico was not killed, and now he is in the hospital in the city Banska Bystrica in the central Slovakia, and he could uh, come out from the attempt of assassination. He went through two operations already, and on tomorrow, on Monday, should take place a third operation. Let's hope that the operation would be successful, but till now the doctors say yes, his state of his life is that the probability of that he overcomes the attempt of assassination is over 50%. So he could survive. And in such a case, then a new government appointed by the president for the beginning, but the beginning would be enough, cannot be appointed because the parties of the present governmental coalition in Slovakia, yes, the deputy prime minister, Mr. Kaliňák, out of the law, he is leading the government, and as if nothing happens. I mean, politically and legally, etc. So, if and on 7th of June, in 2 weeks, practically the tenure of present President Mrs. Chaputova will will be finished, and new elected president is Mr. Pellegrini, such Italian name he has. And he's from the party that creates the present governmental coalition. I'm sorry, I must. Yesterday I got flu, so I'm coughing now a little bit. So if say I will speak now very cynical, but yes, the life is right now rather cynical in Slovakia. If Robert Fico survives 2 weeks, then not Mrs. Chaputova, and even then he would die. Then not Mrs. Chaputova would appoint the new government, but Mr. Pellegrini, and Mr. Pellegrini would appoint someone out of the present governmental coalition. So that is stand of events right now in Slovakia.
Yeah, Jan, let me ask you this. What has been the reaction of the people of Slovakia? And could you tilt your camera ahead just a little bit? Tilt your camera, your computer screen just ahead a little bit so that you're.
So?
If you stay right there, it's good.
Okay. Of course, this is the first attempt of assassination of any politician in Slovakia, not only prime minister. And of course, it is a shock for people of Slovakia. And yes, they are almost all majorities on the side of the prime minister. And big majority wishes him to overcoming the attempt of assassination, and wishes that he would go on in his office, because Robert Fico won parliamentary elections in September last year, and in some 1 month ago, his present governmental bloc coalition has won presidential elections. So could be said that Robert Fico is very successful politician in present Slovakia. I know him
So,
personally. I know him personally, especially from the oppositional time. Okay, he's able to think rationally. He's good looking, and is when he said that Slovakia would not deliver weapons to Ukraine, it's he would keep his words. And yes, right now, 3 days ago, a German member of parliament for German Social Democratic Party, that means for governmental party in Germany, proposed that Ukraine should be supported in that way that in Slovakia and Hungary would be stationed the weapons against missiles and planes to keep the Ukraine, but it would mean that Slovakia would be included into warring parties in Ukraine. That should not happen, and majority of Slovakia is against.
so let me ask you this, Jan. Um, well, first I'll make a statement. When I heard that there was an assassination attempt on Robert Fico, I immediately thought the United States was behind it because of his political position. Now, I know we talked earlier, you did not think that this man that attempted to kill Robert Fico was an asset or controlled by the CIA. What was the motive then? What was the motive?
Uh, Mode of, you mean that CIA would had its hands behind?
No, I
Or
mean, you don't believe that the CIA was behind it, I don't think. But
oh
why
yes,
did this man want to kill Fico? What was his
yes.
motive?
First, till today there are no arguments that he cooperated, the man assassinator cooperated with someone else, despite the fact that his wife is Ukrainian girl. And so I don't like to say something what is not proved by facts. Uh, but when now all this, yes, uh, especially this proposal of German politician to include Slovakia into into war against Russia. I would I would like that if that happened, that maybe some Slovak crews of these weapons could dismiss and fire a rocket to Germany. But yes, I'm now laughing. But now only Hungary is out of the Western camp. He is he is openly saying that sanctions against Russia are not working well, are working more against people of Europe than against Russia, etc. And now, even if Serbia would join, then if three countries would create a bloc, Serbia, Hungary, Slovakia, such bloc could reach something already. But up to now, till I have no facts behind it. Yes, what I have told, it is, yes, it's fact that these three countries could reach more than only Hungary. Uh, but as long as I have no facts behind, especially fact that with the men in the town Handlova, where the attempt took place, I would not like to speak about it as a proved fact.
Yeah. But as an American, I couldn't help but think that these three countries are opposing the United States, really. It's the United States that controls the EU and NATO. I couldn't help but think that, you know what, this is how they deal with people who don't obey. And, at the same time, we're seeing the influence of the United States in Georgia, in Armenia, and in Serbia to
And
create.
now in Iran,
And
the president of Iran probably crashed in a helicopter.
yeah, so you'll have to pardon me for thinking that, but that's been the modus operandi of the CIA in the United States. Now, I want to ask you a few more questions so that I can understand, and people in the United States and in other parts of the world. Is Slovakia a capitalist country?
Sure, of course, now, yes. And more capitalist countries, probably only Russia now, because when I am visiting Russia, there are more capitalist rules than in Slovakia. But yes, that's another matter. But
So,
Slovakia is member of European Union. Before entered European Union, had to prove practically stand of European Union's economic rules, and yes, now is now capitalist country.
so let me ask you this. Um, I know that elections in the European Union are coming up. I would like to know your opinion. Do you think that the people of Slovakia support the European Union and these unelected people like Ursula von der Leyen and all these others who are their foreign minister, their spokesperson? Do the people of Slovakia support the way the European Union is being governed?
Regis, you must now understand the development of Slovakia in last maybe 70 or 80 years, because we were 40 years a communist country. We were cut from the West, and the communist system was collapsing. So for people of and yes, and we had illusions about about free capitalist market system. And yes, from the beginning is what so. The people were able to establish here commercial companies, were able to go abroad for working, students were able to go abroad for studying. Yes, people were more or less satisfied. Of course, now, or not only now, but sometimes ago, already it started to deteriorate. But uh, till today, the majority of Slovaks does support the membership of Slovakia inside of European Union. Of course, we are against anti-Russian sanctions, majority. We are against this LGBT policy, gender policy that Brussels is pursuing, and many other. But it needs some time till the majority of people would understand that yes, it is not way for us. First and second, you would have to have an alternative. And till today, the majority of Slovaks an alternative do not see.
Yeah. Um, do the people in Slovakia have you felt the negative effects of the sanctions that the United States and the EU placed on Russia? Have people in Slovakia been feeling a backlash?
Of course, because the prices are rising already now. And yes, in this year, Slovakia has still a contract with Gazprom, Russian gas company, on more or less cheaper prices. But the contract will be concluded end of this year. So from next year, as we read in newspapers, the prices of gas would rise 3 times, 4 times. The prices of gasoline would again rise many times. So the people would start to understand it, but it needs time.
Talking about gas, there's been a lot that's been said about who blew up the Nord Stream pipeline that was going to bring very cheap gas to Europe. I think most people believe, as I do, that it was the United States that blew it up. Joseph Biden said, we won't let it happen. Victoria Nuland and others have said it's just not going to happen. So I think most people believe that the United States did it. But where is your gas coming from, if not through the pipelines?
Yes, I did see just headlines that the names of men who blown up the pipeline in Baltic Sea are known already. But I had not time to read the whole information. But it's detail, but the majority of people would need some time to understand yes, that United States are the evil behind all that in the world. And one more point. United States were for century, maybe for century, a good was a good country for majority of Slovak, because many from Slovakia emigrated to United States already end of 19th century, in 20th century. After the Velvet Revolution, quite a lot of them emigrated to the United States, and they were not unsatisfied. Yes, but there are cases of people now who emigrated to the United States, but have already returned home. So to change a friendly picture of the United States in the heads of majority of the Slovaks to a not friendly picture needs again time. And even in communist time lasted 40 years. In communist time, except communists, they were not majority of Slovaks. Again, America and Americans were friends of the United States, and even American broadcasting stations, Voice of America, even Free Europe, Radio Free Europe, and others were very widely heard in Slovakia. I was more or less a correspondent of Voice of America in 80s before Velvet Revolution. Yes, then I went to prison for in Czechoslovakia, but only for a short time because the regime collapsed already. But I repeat that after such a picture of the United States, make completely different picture. It needs time.
Well, I was going to ask you that. What 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 are the views of the average person in Slovakia towards the United States? Here in Russia, where I'm living now for 4 years, everybody tells me we like the American people. American people are good, but we don't like the government. Would that be common in Slovakia as well?
Yes, practically yes. In last years, yes. In communist time, not. In communist time, Slovak people, majority of Slovak people, practically hiddenly, not in public, but liked even American presidents. Yes, John F. Kennedy, he was hero for most Slovaks, or Ronald Reagan was again very well, very well seen in Slovakia, but Joe Biden, of course, not.
What what about Donald Trump? I have friends. I have friends here in Russia who are hoping that Donald Trump will be elected, and they say to me all the time, "What do you think about Trump? What do you think?"
More liked than Donald Trump is Melania Trump. So if Donald Trump would be elected, yes, Melania could take over his office.
Yeah, well, that's very clever. Anyway, yeah, and I want to thank you for this conversation tonight. I've learned a lot from you, and I hope that our conversation will help to educate people who are listening. Many of them probably don't even know where Slovakia is, and if they do, they're probably not familiar with the history that we've talked about, and certainly not the current politics, and they may not even know about your Prime Minister, Robert Fico.
Yes.
So I was very happy to do this, and I'm very grateful to you. And hopefully we can see you next week with the rest of our crew.
I would very enjoy it.
Yeah, me too. Take care and have a good week.
Thank you. Best wishes to you and to the viewers as well.
Thank you. Bye bye for now.
Bye bye.